Shabbat Shalom,
Shabbat Shalom.
which is peace on Yahweh's Holy Sabbath Day. Welcome to another holy convocation that Yahweh has enjoined unto us here in Stone Mountain, Georgia. It has truly been a wonderful week as we have been keeping our Feast of Tabernacles, keeping Yahweh's holy feast days. And this is truly how Yahweh wants to end the year with a bang, having a full week of gatherings, beginning with a Sabbath and ending with a Sabbath. Because after a full week, you're going to need a rest to get some things back in perspective. So praise Yahweh for the way He has set these things up. But before we get started, brother, would you read the oracles and entreat the angel that stands at the door to come in and sup with us and us with him, that we may make this a holy convocation by the angel's presence?
1 Peter chapter 4, verses 7 through 11. But the end of all things is at hand. Be you therefore sober, and watch unto prayer. And above all things have fervent love among yourselves, for love shall cover the multitude of sins. Use hospitality one to another without grudging. As every man has received the gift, even so minister the same one to another, as good stewards of the manifold grace of Elohim. If any man speak, let him speak as the oracles of Elohim. If any man minister, let him do it as of the ability which Elohim gives, that Elohim in all things may be glorified through Yahshua the Mashiach, to whom be praise and dominion forever and ever. Amen. Ephesians chapter 4, verses 29 through chapter 5 and verse 4. Let no corrupt communication proceed out of your mouth, but that which is good to the use of edifying, that it may minister grace unto the hearers. And grieve not the Holy Spirit of Elohim, whereby you are sealed until the day of redemption. Let all bitterness and wrath and anger and clamor and evil speaking be put away from you with all malice. And be you kind one to another, tender-hearted, forgiving one another, even as Elohim for Yahshua's sake has forgiven you. Be you therefore followers of Elohim, as dear children, and walk in love, as the Mashiach also have loved us, and has given himself for us an offering and sacrifice to Elohim for a sweet-smelling savor. But fornication and all uncleanness or covetousness, let it not be once named among you as becomes saints. Neither filthiness, nor foolish talking, nor jesting, which are not convenient, but rather given of thanks. Ecclesiastes chapter 5, verses 1 and 2. Keep your foot when you go to the house of Elohim, and be more ready to hear than to give the sacrifice of fools, for they consider not that they do evil. Be not rash with your mouth, and let not your heart be hasty to utter anything before Elohim. For Elohim is in heaven, and you upon earth. Therefore let your words be few. Exodus chapter 23, verses 20 and 21. Behold, I send an angel before you, to keep you in the way, and to bring you into the place which I have prepared. Beware of him, and obey his voice. Provoke him not, for he will not pardon your transgressions, for my name is in him. Revelations chapter 3, verses 20 through 22. Behold, I stand at the door and knock. If any man hear my voice and open the door, I will come into him and will sup with him and he with me. To him that overcomes will I grant to sit with me in my throne, even as I have also overcame and am sat down with my Father in his throne. He that has an ear, let him hear what the Spirit says unto the churches.
All right. Now, Yahweh has set forth that every 7 years in the solemnity of the year of release, that the children of Israel would gather together during the Feast of Tabernacles, as it would be the last time of the year that all the males make an appearance before Yahweh. There are 3 times in the year that all males must make an appearance before Yahweh. In that Feast of Tabernacles, Yahweh has set that the children, the wives, everybody would come every 7 years and make sure that they all hear that law and understand that we have automobiles where it is easier for us to make this journey. But depending on where they lived, this was a toil for them to have to make it to wherever the place was where Yahweh chose to place his name there. We're talking about a lot of people moving, so it would be more necessary to dwell in booths because it would be an enormous amount of people in one area more than it would normally be. So as we did our dwelling in booths last night, it was a wonderful experience, and Yahweh truly gave us that time, because after we left out of here, it rained cats, dogs, chickens, ducks, and a few armadillos fell out the sky. It was ugly after we got out of here, but Yahweh gave us all the time that we needed to do what we needed to do. So some of the blessings of Yahweh we miss because the things that would happen to us didn't happen to us. So we didn't even know to tell him thank you because we never seen whatever it was. Those are things that we have to take into consideration. So being that we really do not know when the actual part of the year of release is, because this was supposed to be done every 7 years, but being that we did not keep all of the things that we were supposed to keep, we don't know exactly where we are in that cycle. So it's one of those things that we just have to do because we don't know exactly when, what time we are in. Consider, as it is written, the Jubilee. You have everything, of course, based on sevens. Then you have Pentecost based on 7 Sabbaths, and then you have the Jubilee based on 7 Sabbaths of years. So in that 50th year, every man was supposed to be returned to his possession, to his land. Being that we don't know what that time frame is because we did not keep these things, we don't know when Yahshua is going to show up. But the showing up of Yahshua is directly connected with the year of Jubilee. This is the reason why we read in the book, with the destruction of the daughter of Babylon, that every man is going to return to his own land. That is going according to as it is written. But us not keeping these, we don't know where we are in that cycle. So when it comes down to all of us hearing this law, it has to be something that we just pick that time to do that. So let's open up in Deuteronomy chapter 31, and we're going to read verses 10 through 13. And the title of today's sermon is Hearing the Law Before Yah. Hearing the Law Before Yah. Deuteronomy chapter 31, and we're going to read verses 10 through 13.
Verse 10. And Moshe commanded them, saying, at the end of every 7 years, in the solemnity of the year of release, in the Feast of Tabernacles, when all Israel is come to appear before Yahweh your Elohim in the place which he shall choose, you shall read this law before all Israel in their hearing. Gather the people together, men and women and children, and your stranger that is within your gates, that they may hear, and that they may learn, and fear Yahweh your Elohim, and observe to do all the words of this law.
So you see that there are no stipulations concerning this. This is men, women, children, as those brothers would go to those places to make their appearances. Although they may go aside and have their appearance to themselves, they were not leaving their families behind. So when it comes down to every 7 years, all of the family, even the strangers that are amongst them in that place, would gather together to hear Yahweh's law. See, for Yahweh to command that we walk in accordance with his law, this means that we have to have heard that law. Man doesn't operate like that. Man doesn't tell you what his laws are. Man doesn't tell you when he changed laws. Man doesn't tell you when a law has been edited. You find out on the news when the news decide to put something up, or you find out when you get arrested. Go ahead.
Verse 13. And that their children, which have not known anything, may hear and learn to fear Yahweh your Elohim, as long as you live in the land whether you go over Jordan to possess it.
Right. And as these children, if they watch us gather and watch us doing these things, then it's going to start to sink into their hearts, their minds, spirits, as to how these things are supposed to be done. So we then see that this is something that was very important unto Yahweh, that the children of Israel gathered together to read out of this law. But of course, then we have to deal with those who have been taught by, basically mistaught by the Euro-Gentile system of things, and they don't understand exactly who they are, so they have been told that these things are no longer valid. So let's go to Mark chapter 12. So we're going to first, before we even get to reading of those things, we're going to read what is written in some of these New Testament passages, because it's those people who you're going to run into that are going to tell you that you are doing unnecessary things. So before we read and go over Yahweh's law, what we're going to do is read some of these things that are written in this New Testament, so you'll understand that the Euro-Gentiles were not ordained to teach. According to Romans 9, verse 1 through 4, Saul was the apostle unto the Gentiles, and he was the stamp of authority, the stamp of approval on who was able to teach. But what we have now is seminary schools that are owned by Euro-Gentiles, and they are teaching a one-size-all-fits doctrine, and that is not backed up by the things that are written in this book. Mark chapter 12, and let's read verses 28 through 34.
And one of the scribes came, and having heard them reasoning together, and perceiving that he had answered them well, asked him, which is the first commandment of all? And Yahshua answered him, the first of all the commandments is, Hear, O Israel, the Adonai, our Elohim, is one Adonai.
Now, the first of all the great commandments is, Hear, O Israel, as it is written, to the Jew first, then to the Euro-Gentile. So the beginning of everything is, Hear, O Israel. Go ahead.
And you shall love your Adonai, your Elohim, with all your heart, and with all your soul, and with all your mind, and with all your strength. This is the first commandment.
All right, so all of this, you shall love Yahweh your Elohim with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your mind, and with all your strength. To understand how to do this, you would have to get into this law and understand what that means. That doesn't mean that you just put a whole lot of feeling in it. This is why we have Sunday churches where they sing and they put their whole everything into their song. They have to go into these emotional tirades. They got to cry. They got to run up and down the aisle because they're trying, by their own definition, to love with their whole heart, soul, mind, and strength. So they're thinking that it's all an emotional display. That's why you see so many feelings, because they don't understand how to do this. Go ahead.
Verse 31. And the second is like, namely this, you shall love your neighbor as yourself. There's none other commandment greater than these.
Now, people have taken this out of context and say these are the only two commandments you need to do. Not understanding that it's going to take the entire book to understand how to keep those two commandments. You don't love your neighbor as yourself the way you want to do it. The book tells you that even if you borrow something of your neighbor, the book tells you how you must deal with it if that thing breaks in your hand. If you borrow something of your neighbor and somebody steals it, the book tells you how you're supposed to deal with that. If you take something from somebody, you must restore that and add the fifth part thereof too. See, in the man's law, they call it restitution. That's where you pay for the wrong that you have done. I think that answers one of your questions, wasn't it? Was that you? One of y'all asked a question about restitution. I don't know if I got to it the other day. I'm going to try to get to a few. I had a few questions that I couldn't get to the other day at Ask the Priest. My throat dried up. So we're gonna see if we can get to a few of them as we going along. Did you finish that, bro?
No, sir.
Go ahead.
Verse 32. And the scribe said unto him, Well, master, you have said the truth, for there is one Elohim, and there is none other but he. And to love him with all the heart and with all the understanding.
All the understanding. See, this is the part that they don't get. It said, wait a minute, love your Elohim with all thy heart, thy soul, with thy mind. See, wait a minute. Then you come down here, your mind is understanding. They don't love according to understanding. They don't understand. See, they take the mind part and they just think, okay, well, I can just think myself to the kingdom. You know, if I think I love him, I love him. No. There's some understanding in that. So when you seek to understand the things of Yahweh, then you're going to come out of your own personal feeling and belief. This is why you have people jumping from church to church. They're looking for somebody who's going to teach in a way that's comfortable with their own fleshly heart. So they're trying to do it with their own understanding. This is why you have them Hebrew Christian organizations. They understand some parts of this book, but they still want to deal with it from a Christian perspective. Go ahead.
And with all the soul, and with all the strength, and to love his neighbor as himself, is more than all whole burnt offerings and sacrifice.
Right. But the things that we hear are constantly pushed forward is tithe, 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 tithe. I am not saying that a man is not supposed to tithe. What I am saying, the same thing that Christ said. You tithe meant a needs and coming, but have omitted the weightier matters of the law. These things you ought to have done and not to left the other undone. So he didn't say you wasn't supposed to do it, but he said there are other things that come before that. But that's not what we've been taught. What we've been taught is you just tithe your way to the kingdom. You tithe, as long as you got your 10%, you tithe your way to the kingdom. You got a seat in the kingdom because you done paid for it. What you've done is offer Yahweh your Elohim things that were already his. That's what you've done. Now, what do you think you bought by giving him back his stuff? Right. Obedience is better than sacrifice. You want to purchase a seat to the kingdom? Be obedient to what's written. That's the only way you're going to purchase something to the kingdom. Go ahead, bro.
Mark chapter 12 and verse 34. And when Yahshua saw that he had answered discreetly, he said unto him, You are not far from the kingdom of Elohim. And no man after that durst ask him any question.
Okay, so now we have commandments still set forth in this book. Because understand, Yahshua was our example. We were told to do after our example. He is being questioned by people, and he is answering about these commandments. Let's go to Romans chapter 13. See, before we read any of those things, you need to have knowledge of where certain things are written. Because what happens is they're going to take some things that are written in this New Testament and quote them to you out of context. The same thing the adversary did to Yahshua. They had a war of wits on the word. Do understand the adversary of the devil knew what was written. So the adversary of the devil quoted some things that were written, but he quoted those things out of context. Then Yahshua put those things back into context. So he would read a part of the word, but it would be not fully dealing with the situation at hand. Yahshua would then read the right thing that concerned that situation. And this is what you're going to have to do constantly. Romans chapter 13, and let's read verses 9 through 10.
For this You shall not commit adultery. You shall not kill. You shall not steal. You shall not bear false witness. You shall not covet. And if there be any other commandment, it is briefly comprehended in this saying.
You see, if there be any other commandment, now all of the other commandments is then comprehended and put in this. Go ahead.
Namely, you shall love thy neighbor as thyself.
You see that? See, people think I love my neighbor as myself because I treat my neighbor the way I want to be treated. According to what? According to your fleshly heart? No, back up. Read this book and find out how you're supposed to treat your neighbor. See, some people don't treat themselves too good. See, so they think it's okay for them to mistreat their neighbor. I didn't pay my bill, so that's why I didn't pay my neighbors, money either. What? No. You see, that's what happened when you use your own fleshly heart as the basis. Your heart is not the basis. What's written in his law is the basis. But you see how first he asked about the great commandments, these learned brothers. Now you see, as these things are expounded upon, now we find other commandments listed that were not in the two great ones. Now you see how those things were broken down. They were kind of condensed in the first part, but then expounded upon here. Because you're going to find people that are going to say, these are the only commandments that we have to keep. Did you finish that?
Verse 10. Love worketh no ill to his neighbor. Therefore, love is the fulfilling of the law.
Now, consider that. Love is the fulfilling of the law. Remember, people will tell you, God is love. And you're supposed to end that with, and love is the fulfilling of the law. That was supposed to be your next statement. When they sing God is love, and they love to say, they say it like it's just so beautiful, like it roll off flower petals. God is love. And you supposedly, love is the fulfilling of the law. So you go ahead. Here go your rose petal right here. So when they roll off the rose petal, here go your rose petal. Love is the fulfilling of the law. And this is what they were taught, because this was the only authorized teacher of the Euro-Gentiles. This is what were taught to the so-called first Christians. They don't do what they were taught. Let's go to 1 John chapter 2. That book will hide from you. After 2 Peter. 1 John chapter 2, and we're going to read verses 1 through 6. So you have churches that will have the commandments posted on their wall and will openly teach people to break over half of them right off the rip.
First John chapter 2 and verse 1. My little children, these things write I unto you, that you sin not.
Now, the definition of sin is the transgression of the law. If there is still sin, there has to still be law. Go ahead.
And if any man sin, we have an advocate with the Father, Yahshua the Mashiach, the righteous. And he is the propitiation for our sins, and not for ours only, but also for the sins of the whole world.
He was the atonement sacrifice for our sins. So this is how he fulfilled animal sacrifice. He fulfilled animal sacrifice by being the propitiation for our sins. That's what that means, the atonement sacrifice. He fulfilled that law. He didn't fulfill adultery. He didn't fulfill the dietary law. That has nothing to do with anything of that nature. What he fulfilled was animal sacrifice. And that's what that means. And he is the propitiation for our sins. People read that, they don't understand what that means. They just keep reading. People just read just so they can say, I read the whole Bible all the way through. Tell me what it's talking about. Huh? Right. You can go through 15 books in a day. You ain't gonna understand what it's talking about, but you can read it. Go ahead.
Verse 3. And hereby we do know that we know him if we keep his commandments.
Remember that thing where he says, all these people are going to walk up to me saying, we did this and we did that. He said, get away from me, you worker of iniquity. Iniquity is lawlessness, by the way. I never knew you. Wait a minute. It says we do know that we know him if we keep his commandments. So you ain't going to emotionally sensationalize yourself to the kingdom. I don't care how hard you sing. I don't care how hard you sing glory. You can glory your way out. Remember, now you got beasts by the throne that say glory, glory, glory all day. He don't need you for that. And them beasts, they ain't going to miss a beat. You going to need a break. You going to glory, glory, glory. No. Them beasts, they ain't going to miss. They going to be on point. Here you go. Now you need a throat break. Now you need some water. Now you tired. I done sat up too long. I just can't glory all day. Them beasts can. That's their job. So he don't need you to do what they already doing. Go ahead.
Verse 4. He that saith, I know him, and keepeth not his commandments, is a liar, and the truth is not in him.
Right. So for all them, we going to sing our way to the kingdom, people. You are sadly mistaken. And see, some of them people into the word, they get baptized, but they don't want to be born again. See? They want to still sing their way to the kingdom and offer their way into the kingdom. See, they've been told that their money carries much weight. And if you keep them from that, you are blocking, in their minds, their only way to the kingdom, because they know they ain't going to walk right. They know they're not going to change. They know they're not going to be born again. That's why they're not going to change any of their names. They're not going to change any. They're not going to try to alter that walk at all. They want the walk to be conformed to them. That's not a servant. If that's the case, you the boss. Go ahead.
1 John chapter 2 and verse 5. But whoso keepeth his word, in him verily is the love of Elohim perfected. Hereby know we that we are in him.
Mm-hmm.
He that saith he abideth in him ought himself also to walk, even as he walked.
Even as he walked. And we read the Messiah kept Passover. We also read that the Messiah went up to the Feast of Tabernacles. Yet you have people that say they just love him to Reese's Pieces, but they ain't kept near one of those. Right. Oh, they love him, love him, love him. Let's go to Revelation chapter 22. See, this is why so many relationships end. Because people, there's some that only deal in the public displays of affection. That's all their love consists of. Publicly, they really love the person that they with. Publicly. When it comes time to doing the things that are needed for whether the household or the family, they ain't there. But they love you in all word, just not in deed. See, a man can't say he loves his family, but then he won't do nothing to help take care of his family. See, you have many sisters caught up in a situation where a brother say, oh, I love you. And she don't see him again until next week. The week after that, he ain't paid not a nary bill. Ain't put not nan shoe on one of the children. But he's talking about what he loved. Charity, which is love, starts at home and then is spread abroad. You can't love your neighbor until you done perfected the love in your house. A whole lot of people want to take care of people outside the house. Hey, take care of them people inside your house. How you going to love your neighbor? You ain't finished loving your own self yet. That's connected to you. How about finish loving that? Then you can love that stuff down the street. I can't buy shoes for my neighbor's kids and my kids all barefoot. Hey, put shoes on them kids. Now, I didn't say you had to buy them no Michael Jordans now. But you need to put some shoes on their feet. Go ahead.
Revelation chapter 22 and verse 14. Blessed are they that do his commandments, that they may have right to the tree of life.
Wait a minute. They have right to the tree of life. You have right to the tree of life. You get to live forever. Go ahead.
And may enter in through the gates into the city.
Right. Now, keeping the commandments is synonymous with access to the city. You hear all these people, oh, when I get to the pearly gates. Oh, what I'm going to do when I get to the pearly gate. Oh, the gates of pearl. You don't keep no commandments, you ain't getting nowhere near no gate. See, all this talking, but when it come down to entering into that city, go ahead, read verse 15.
For without are dogs and sorcerers and whoremongers and murderers and idolaters and whosoever loveth and maketh a lie.
Right. That's all them emotional sensationalism people. They all outside the city. And they can stand there and sing all they want to. Oh, we looking at the pearly gates. Yeah, you're going to be looking at them. We're going to be on the inside. So you keep on looking at the gate. Oh, gates. Open gates. Ain't them gates ain't opening for you. You ain't finna sing your way into the kingdom. I don't care how well you sing. You ain't gonna love your way to the kingdom. You gonna walk your way to the kingdom. And if you don't refine that walk, you just practicing. And if you gonna half do it, stop now. Go back to Christendom. At least you'll have some fun when you get thrown in the lake of fire. They ain't no need to half doing this and still getting thrown in the lake of fire. Stop now. Go back. It's a lot of fun back there. Go have it. If you're going to get thrown in the lake of fire anyway, it don't make no sense. Let's go to our back up. Let's go to Revelation 12. See, this is for y'all going to run into all these people who are going to tell you that you keeping that old stuff. See? So, for some reason, they don't see commandments in this New Testament. They don't see it. So they think the commandments are all in the Old Testament. That's why I ain't even reading it until we get to these things in the New Testament. And don't think this is all of them. I'm just giving you a few of them. Then we're going to read the commandments. But just so you understand, these things are giving you the weight of the commandments. Revelation chapter 12, and let's read verse 17.
And the dragon was angry with the woman and went to make war with the remnant of her seed, which keep the commandments of Elohim and have the testimony of Yahshua the Mashiach.
So the adversary, the devil, only makes war with the remnant of the children of Israel who keep the commandments. Now, why is he not making war with the rest of them? They already belong to him. He is not making war with his own because they belong to him. They're on his side. Now, they don't think so. So they glory and glory. Whole time they're working for the devil. They have no idea. They only say Yahweh's name when they're going to say something in a song. Hallelujah. And that's accidental. They didn't even mean to say it. They don't even know what it means. It's just like hollering something in tongues. They don't know what it means, but it seemed holy. He's not attacking them. He already has them. They're warring for him. They are the ones that will come up to you and accuse you of being in a cult. And they're in the biggest cult of the world. They began. Christianity was spread with the sword. You either converted or got killed. Now, how hard of a decision is that to make if somebody trying to live? Death of Jesus. Jesus, please. That was a real easy decision. They didn't know nothing. And they went all over the world killing off people. And the reason why we are the denominations that we are is because of the slave master that owned us. Some of us Baptist, some Methodist, some Episcopal, some Lutheran. You are whatever the slave master who owned you was. And it's no different in the last names that we have. The last name that you have is the slave master who owned your family. That's how you got that last name. And we'll go fight about that name. Man, Johnson family. That's how the Johnson family do things, brother. Which Johnson family, the white one or the black one? Which one you talking about? Right. And what's going to cook your noodle is when you run into a white person with that same last name. And when you start talking to them and see how nervous they get. Hey, we got the same last name. Because they want to know if you know what that means. Right. Them the folk that used to own your family. Let's go to Ephesians chapter 2. And see, it's not that, and people misunderstand these things when we point out what the Euro-Gentiles did. Some point this out and it turns to hatred. Understand, nobody would have ever been able to do anything against us if we did what we were supposed to do. So the weight falls upon us, the children of Israel, who did not walk in the righteousness of this law. If the hedge was not removed from us, nobody would have been able to do anything to us. So this is on us. So if you want to be mad at somebody, go and look at that dude in the mirror. That's that guy that caused you all your problems. You got some problem? Go in there, cut on all the lights. Because some people don't see themselves when they look in the mirror. I don't know who they see. They look in the mirror, they be like, man, that is a wonderful person. Golly. They don't see no flaws. They don't see no nothing. You need to stay in there and just look for a while. That's who caused you your issues. Ephesians chapter 2, and let's read verse 15.
Having abolished in his flesh the enmity, even the law of commandments contained in ordinances.
Right. Not abolished the law of commandments. You have to read that carefully. Having abolished in his flesh the enmity, even the law of commandments contained in ordinances. See? The ordinances of the law. The touch not, taste not, handle not. All of the things of sacrificial law. Go ahead.
For to make in himself of two one new man, so making peace.
So when we talk about this new man, this is where most of us have the issue. Not wanting to go through all the steps to become that new man. See, we like that old creature. So this is why people get baptized in this word, but then they want to fall back and deal with the other things of the world because they like those things. They like that old man. They don't want to be a new creature. So you have to consider, if you becoming a new man, you're going to have to lose a few things and start over. You may lose a few friends. When we say, I don't want to lose no friends. I like my friends. I don't want to lose my status in the community. Right? So you're going to keep your status and lose your salvation. That's about a stupid trade-off right there. Let's go to Romans chapter 3. Romans chapter 3, and we're going to read verses 28 through 31. Now, these last two of the New Testament, you guys need to pay attention to very, very closely.
Romans chapter 3 and verse 28. Therefore we conclude that a man is justified by faith without the deeds of the law.
Once again, we have another word when it comes to the law. The deeds of the law. The other one, we were dealing with these other things of the law. So we find that there's something else that it's talking about. Go ahead.
Is he the Elohim of the Yehudis only? Is he not also of the Gentiles? Yes, of the Gentiles also. Seeing it is one Elohim, which shall justify the circumcision by faith and uncircumcision through faith.
So you have to learn how to back people up. And they said, oh no, we have our things by faith. Wait a minute, by faith is for the circumcision. Through faith is the uncircumcision. So when they say, oh, we justified by faith, so you're a Jew or a Gentile. So that need to be your next conversation. That need to be the next question. What are you talking about? No. See, the circumcision is by faith. The uncircumcision is through faith. So which one are you? See, you have our people answering that. They want to tell you that they're Gentiles, but they're giving you their way of salvation by way of the Jews. Do you see that? It is verse 30. Seeing it is one Elohim which shall justify the circumcision. This is the children of Israel by faith. What people come up to you and say, we justified by faith. This is for the circumcision. And uncircumcision through faith. So that tells you that there are two different paths. There's a path for the Euro-Gentile and there's a path for the Jew. You then have to understand where you stand so you can understand which path you are to take. There is not a one-size-fits-all doctrine. That's what's taught on Sunday morning, and it's getting millions upon millions of people killed. But they're going to be happy, and they're going to be singing. Nonetheless, it's going to get them killed. For if the blind lead the blind into the ditch, they both going to be into the ditch. Go ahead.
Do we then make void the law through faith? Elohim forbid. Yea, we established the law.
Now see, these things throw them off. They don't understand because they'll read something else out of context and say the law is done away with, not understanding that it's dealing with the law contained in ordinances. Here in 28, it says the deeds of the law. See, not understanding those things, they take those out of context. So now let's back up to Romans chapter 2, and let's start that at verse 12. So when we read and we go back to this law code and it says all Israel are to read this law and go over this law every 7 years. Now, when we go through it, we have to go through more than just what's written in Exodus, because Yahshua has expounded upon some laws. So now we have to deal with that in a multifaceted way. Go ahead.
Verse 12. For as many as have sinned without law shall also perish without law. And as many as have sinned in the law shall be judged by the law.
And we have all heard, I'd rather be judged by 12 than carried by 6. It's a difference. For as many as have sinned without law, they shall die without law. And as have many as have sinned in the law, they shall be judged by the law. See, there cannot be judgment without law. This is why Sunday morning told us to leave out the book of Revelation. That's that scary God. So the end of the book is, the beginning of the book is the mean God. The end of the book is the scary God. So they just like to stay in the middle. They won't go to the beginning or the end. Both of them bothers them. You ain't went in no Christian church and heard nothing about Revelation. You ain't went in there and read no Revelation. You probably ain't heard more than 2 or 3 lines no matter where you went. But they're sure not getting that out of Revelation, because it's hard to teach that the law is nailed to the cross stuff when the entire book is about the judgment of the entire world. Go ahead.
For not the hearers of the law are just before Elohim, but the doers of the law shall be justified.
Right. So what they're getting is all law is nailed to the cross. This is Saul, the only authorized teacher of the Gentiles. All of the people who first called themselves Christians, this is what they were taught. Go ahead.
For when the Gentiles, which have not the law...
What? Hold Hold on. The Gentiles which have not the law. Go back to what we read before. Circumcision by faith, uncircumcision through faith. The Gentiles were the uncircumcision. They don't have the law. Go ahead.
Do by nature the things contained in the law. These, having not the law, are a law unto themselves.
Now, how they have fooled most of us is telling us it ain't but two types of people. You either Jew or Gentile. The problem is Noah had 3 sons. So that lie don't even make sense. How you have only 2 types of people and you had 3 sons even in the base of that. Then you get to Genesis 10 and start breaking it down. You find out the Gentiles are the Europeans. You find out where Paul was ordained to go. He was the apostle to the Gentiles. Did he go to Africa? Okay. Yet you got people blacker than I am. Black as yous all, talking about I'm a Gentile. You lack understanding. Genesis 10 show you who the Gentiles are. That's Europe and Asia. Go ahead.
Verse 15. Romans chapter 2 and verse 15. Which show the work of the law written in their hearts, their conscience also bearing witness, and their thoughts the meanwhile accusing or else excusing one another.
Mm-hmm.
In the day when Elohim shall judge the secrets of men by Yahshua according to my gospel.
Right. Judge. Once again, there is judgment. How are you going to have judgment without law? See, this is why you have to cherry pick writings on Sunday morning to teach that pie in the sky doctrine. So you can't teach that pie in the sky doctrine and read the entire book. Because if you take a verse here and a verse there and a verse there, you can make the people believe a certain thing. But read the whole context of that chapter and you'll find out, wait a minute, that ain't what it's saying. Go ahead.
Behold, you are called a Yehudi and resteth in the law.
Wait a minute. Now, you are called a Yehudi, a so-called Jew, and rest in the law. Hey, verse 14 said the Gentiles have not the law. Now you start to have more understanding of Romans 3, verse 28 through 31, circumcision by faith, uncircumcision through faith. So the Yehudis are taught a different way. Go ahead.
And maketh your boast of Elohim.
Uh-huh.
And knoweth his will.
Uh-huh.
And approveth the things that are more excellent, being instructed out of the law.
Hit the brakes. The Yehudis are instructed out of the law. Verse 14 of Romans 2, the Gentiles have not the law. Verse 18, the Yehudis are instructed out of the law. There goes your circumcision or your way by faith and through faith. See, a lot of people read that, and the very people who are going to come to you, they do not understand by faith and through faith. Now, this gives you the understanding or will help you explain that to the person who has no idea where they're standing and gonna try to tell you where you stand. Go ahead.
Verse 19. And are confident that you yourself are a guide of the blind, a light of them which are in darkness, an instructor of the foolish, a teacher of babes, which has the form of knowledge and of the truth in the law.
Okay. They have a form of knowledge and of the truth in the law. Go ahead.
You therefore which teachest another, teacheth you not yourself? You that preachest a man should not steal, does you steal?
Hey, these are in the commandments. If the law is nailed to the cross, see, this is the part that they cannot explain. If the law is nailed to the cross, then how are you still holding a man accountable for stealing? If there is no law, the man is not held accountable for stealing. So they just mean the laws that they don't like. Go ahead.
Verse 22. You that saith a man should not commit adultery, does you commit adultery? You that abhorreth idols, does you commit sacrilege? You that maketh your boast of the law, through breaking the law dishonoreth you Elohim.
Right. The Euro Gentiles don't make their boast through the law because they're not instructed out of the law. The Euro Gentiles, according to this very same chapter, are not given the law. So if you deal with that one-size-fits-all doctrine that you get on Sunday morning or from the synagogue of Satan, claiming that they are Jews and are not, you going to be off as two left shoes. And if you got them two left shoes on, all you can do is cross your feet and try to make it look like they fit. You can't walk nowhere. I did that before. I went to, I was so excited. I was going down to Myrtle Beach somewhere, and I went, bought me a fresh new pair of Dion's. Boy, they would look, boy, brother was fly, boy. It was looking so good, I ain't want to look down at them. So I put them back in the box, you know. I got all the way to Myrtle Beach, pulled them out. It was two left shoes. All I can do was put them shoes on and cross my feet and just look at them. Golly. Yeah, I had to put them back in the box. Wasn't nothing I can do, so I got back to Atlanta. So I'm down there whole weekend with two left shoes. Right. That's what that twisted doctrine give you. Two left shoes. You can't go nowhere. All you do is stand and make it look like you got the right shoe on. But as soon as you start walking, everybody gonna say, hey, bro, you twisted. Right. Go ahead.
Romans chapter 2 and verse 24. For the name of Elohim is blasphemed among the Gentiles through you, as it is written.
Now, the Gentiles are blaspheming Elohim because of how them vagabond Jews deal with things. Go ahead.
For circumcision verily profited if you keep it the law.
See, people don't even understand what circumcision means. Go ahead.
But if you be a breaker of the law, your circumcision is made uncircumcision.
Uh-huh.
Therefore, if the uncircumcision
the Gentiles, go ahead.
keep the righteousness of the law, shall not his uncircumcision be counted for circumcision?
Now, therefore, if the uncircumcision, the Euro Gentiles, keep the righteousness of the law, not the letter of the law. The letter of the law nobody has to follow. The letter of the law is dealing with complete animal sacrifice. We're dealing with the righteousness of the law. See? So when people start coming to you about things that do not affect, that are not salvation issues, don't even waste your time dealing with it. People want to talk to you about how long is your beard? Do you have fringes on every time you leave the house, brother? Man, bring a salvation issue, man. Get that out in front of me, man. See, they want to deal with you on non-salvation issues, but make you think that it is a salvation issue. Go ahead.
Verse 27. And shall not uncircumcision which is by nature, if it fulfill the law, judge you, who by the letter and circumcision does transgress the law? For he's not a Yehudi, which is one outwardly, neither is that circumcision, which is outward in the flesh.
Right, but understand something. The Euro Gentiles are getting circumcised and then turn around and saying that they're not held by the law. Mana mana do do. I'm gonna let that one sit for you, man. Mana mana do 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 do. Mana mana do 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 do. Mana mana do 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 do. Y'all got it? Y'all there? Do you see how twisted that is? See, you gotta back up. That stuff is all in the New Testament right in front of you. You keep thinking you got to go to the Old Testament to bust up that doctrine. Man, you can bust up that doctrine right in the New Testament. You ain't got to go all over this book. They want to stay in the New Testament, stay in it. You can go from the New Testament and wear that doctrine out. I have preachers run away from me. I can't take no more. I know you can't. Because see, they think, oh, you gonna go and read some of that bondage. Oh no, I'm gonna stay where you wanna go. I'm gonna make you run out of that New Testament by the time I'm done with it. Right. They drop their book and take out running. Because this New Testament does not support their doctrine. Why you think they gotta read one line at a time? Why you think they got to read 2 lines and go somewhere else? The New Testament does not back that up. Once you get circumcised, then there is this weight of the law, the righteousness of the law, not the letter of the law. So when they start coming to you with that, your question need to be, okay, so are you circumcised? Watch them stutter. Hey, what's the problem? Go ahead.
Verse 29. But he is a Yehudi, which is one inwardly. And circumcision is that of the heart, in the spirit and not in the letter.
Not in the letter of the law, but a circumcised heart. Go ahead.
Whose praise is not of men, but of Elohim.
Right. So consider all of those things. Consider all of the things that are written there. Now let's go to Exodus chapter 20. See, if we just start off with Exodus 20, you may have some people who just logging on to our website at the first time, and they say, oh, man, they don't know what they talking about. They dealing with that old bondage again. Here they go with them commandments. They got that old God. We got a new cool and groovy God. And they dealing with that old mean God. Right? See, they don't know all of those things. And believe you me, we can go to whole class and read all of those things that are in the New Testament that verifies the commandments and the keeping of the law. But as it is written, let them hear Moses. If they will not hear Moses and the prophets, they will not be persuaded, though one rose from the dead. So they ain't going to be persuaded. Exodus chapter 20, and let's start that at verse 1.
And Elohim spake all these words, saying, I am Yahweh your Elohim, which have brought you out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. You shall have no other gods before me. You shall not make unto you any graven image or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth.
Right. So if you got you a cross, you got your idol. You got your little fish on your car, you got your idol. All right? Those are all idols. You got you a little Star of David, you got an idol. I don't care how many diamonds you put in it, it's still an idol. Go ahead.
Verse 5. You shall not bow down yourself to them, nor serve them.
And people say, well, we do Christmas for the kids, right? But them gifts placed up under that tree, and then you got to bow down to go get them. See, that was a reason why you had a whole bunch of gifts all in the family room. But then a couple of them you couldn't get till mama got up. Right? You had to go get on your knees and go up under that tree and bow down yourself to it. Now, how is that in Jeremiah 10? If it's all about Christ, how was it in Jeremiah 10 before Christ hit the scene? Right? Because that's what the Euro-Gentiles already worshiped before. Go ahead.
For I, Yahweh your Elohim, am a jealous Elohim, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children unto the 3rd and 4th generation of them that hate me.
Right, and they show that they hate Yahweh by their actions. Go ahead.
And showing mercy unto thousands of them that love me and keep my commandments.
You see what that love got on it? It said that love me and keep my commandments. So you can sing all you want. It says that love me and keep my commandments. Is that not the same thing that we read in the New Testament? See, somebody been teaching you lies. But what people get mad at, they say, that brother right there is crude in speech. I don't believe him. I believe Dr. Dollar. Right. Dr. Dollar gonna lead you to the lake of fire. Go ahead.
Verse 7. You shall not take the name of Yahweh your Elohim in vain, for Yahweh will not hold him guiltless that taketh his name in vain.
And we ain't got to worry about that from Sunday morning people, because they don't know the name anyway. So we ain't got to worry about them taking nothing in vain. They believe that you just say God a different way. God. And apparently that's supposed to mean something. Go ahead.
Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy.
Right. Now, you know how many churches you got that have that posted on the wall and they all gathering on the wrong day? They are breaking the commandment, but then have the commandment posted on the wall as they walk into the building. Oh, look at our great wall of commandments. And they all gather together to break it. Now that is gross darkness. As you post the commandment and then gather together to break it. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. That Sabbath day wasn't changed to 300 years after Christ by Constantine, a Euro-Gentile. Not any authorization from anybody that's in this book. None of these apostles, none of the disciples, none of them had anything to do with that. Go ahead.
Exodus chapter 20 and verse 9. 6 days shall you labor and do all your work. But the seventh day is the Sabbath of Yahweh Elohim. In it you shall not do any work, you, nor your son, nor your daughter, your manservant, nor your maidservant, nor your cattle, nor your stranger that is within your gates.
Now, T.D. Jakes have fun with this. Yeah, they say, all that sweating going on. They say that the Sabbath is the holy day. But I say every day is holy. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Hey, let me tell you something. It says Sabbath. You shall not do any work. If you don't do no work all week, you ain't holy, you lazy. All right? You ain't holy. Don't try to say, oh, I'm this a holy Thursday. No, it ain't. You just a lazy Thursday. You just don't want to do nothing. No, that's not what they say. See, they're going to twist that. See, that's vain gainsaying. See, they're going to twist the word and try to make it say something else. No, it's the Sabbath, a day of rest. No, you can't do that on any day. So now, his setup is not holy enough for them. They got their own setup. They know that the Sabbath is not Sunday. They know that. But you know how much money they're going to lose? Because all them people that's sitting in there that's gathering on Sunday, they got plans on Saturday. They had the Little League pub. They had this, that. First of all, they was out at ladies' night, Friday night. All right? They was at happy hour, drink till you stink night, And they did all of that. They partied that whole night. Then they went to all the Little League and all the karate practice and all the ballet. They did all their things for their kids on Yahweh's Holy Sabbath. So first they danced the night away Friday night. Then they went all the rest of the day Saturday and did everything they wanted to do. So by Sunday, then they can come and want to do their thing. If he turn around and tell them, no, this is the real Sabbath day, he going to lose 3/4 of his people. And he knows that. Which means that he going to lose that spaceship Benz. He going to lose that big old house. And ain't going to be able to pay the mortgage on that building. So they allow that lie. See, that's making concessions for the word. And they're going to pay for it. Go ahead.
Verse 11. For in 6 days Yahweh made heaven and earth, the sea, and all that in them is, and rested the seventh day. Wherefore Yahweh blessed the Sabbath day and hallowed it.
Right. The very first thing that Yahweh blessed and sanctified is the very first thing that man changed. Soon as the Euro-Gentiles was given into the word, you notice that the Sabbath wasn't changed the whole time, it was just Israel. Soon as the Euro-Gentiles, the doors open unto them, all of a sudden the Sabbath get changed. Right. Go ahead. Because they already worshiped the sun. So it made sense for them to worship on the sun's day. Not S-O-N day, S-U-N day. They worship the sun. All of their holidays are based on sun symbols. Christmas is your sun worship. See, your solstices. Then you have Easter, which is your equinox. All those are sun worship days. That's all about worship. Why do you think they have Easter sunrise service? See, the people who openly worship the sun, they get up 5, 6 o'clock in the morning, they bow down, and the sun rise up. Then they're able, that's how they're worshiping the sun. Then they can go about our day. See, I know a whole lot of us wouldn't be able to worship the sun because we can't get up before noon. So you talking about getting up before the sunrise, we would be some awful sun worshipers. We hanging out all night, you know what I'm saying, folks, just on the computer, 3, 4 a.m. We have a hard time getting up at 6 a.m. for the sun. We be apologizing, son. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. But I was watching TV all night, son. I'm sorry. Right. Go ahead, brother.
Keep telling myself to keep my mouth shut, but you kept saying the Sabbath was changed. The Sabbath wasn't changed. They just chose another day.
Yeah. The according to them, they still, if they changed it, let me tell you something. Now, it's a thing about words, but consider this. They chose another day, but look at what they chose. It was the exact opposite. What they chose was the first day instead of the last day. That is a change. See, it looks like it's just it's just one day off. No. It's 6 days off. It's completely opposite. And when you deal with it in that context, oh, no. They changed it because it is completely different. And that's the slickness. Ain't no different than the fake Jews said, we just had trumpets. They said they had Rosh Hashanah. They said they had the New Year. We ending the year. They said they got a New Year. Come on, man. Why you think it's called the synagogue of Satan? They keeping the beginning, we keeping the end. Now tell me something ain't wrong with that. And see, that's how the Euro-Gentile, see, the understanding of the things goes on levels. See, for a little while you get this level, and I was there, but then I got another level, and then I got another level, and I said, wait a minute, this thing keep getting interesting. Because see, at first, I was there too. Okay, they just changed the day. Oh, no. They changed the entire thing from the beginning to the end. So what they got is worshiping on the beginning of the week and not the ending. They turn, but the adversary always wants to say, he said what? I'm going to be just like the Most High. I'm going to sit on the congregation on the sides of the north. I'm going to be just like the Most High. So, he wants to put his throne in heaven. Why you think Sunday morning teaches us that everybody going to heaven? Because they want to be just like their daddy. Their daddy, the adversary, the devil, said he going to reign in heaven. So that's what they say too. I'm going to heaven just like my daddy. Yes, I'm out. Right. And you're going to be right in the pit just like your daddy. Go ahead.
You have a lot of people out there that do believe that that Sunday is the last day of the week.
Exactly. And that's that thing. Once you do that for so long, when you try to back up, people have actually told me, you can't tell when the Sabbath really is. Now, some have said point blank, all right, after running into a few people, yeah, I know that it's not the real Sabbath, but you can't tell when the Sabbath really is. So that's why we honor Sunday, as, that Sabbath, because we can't tell. Yet you can get right in this New Testament. They say it was Friday. They call it Good Friday, and they keep it all the time. The sun was going down, and they said they had to take him off the torture stake because it was beginning to be the Sabbath as the sun went down. How hard is it to figure out what day come after Friday? See? Exactly. But you see the slickness of that? See, this is how they get us with wordplay. That's why certain times when we're reading things, I will then go into Strong's and give you the number and the definition, because that word don't mean what you think it means. That's how they get you. That's how they getting our kids in school. Vocabulary. How you think we get stuck in the contracts? Vocabulary. That word that you see that you think mean one thing means something altogether different. Then you put your little John Hancock there and find out these people charging you double than what you thought they were going to charge you. Because that little word right there that you didn't understand. That's how they get us. Go ahead, brother. You had something else?
But they Sabbath only lasts 2 to 3 hours instead of evening to evening.
Of course. I mean, come on, man. The Sabbath said you shall not go to him that sell or buy. Brother, right after church, they go to Piccadilly. Come on, bro. They ain't keeping that one. They keep the wrong Sabbath the wrong way. Piccadilly is full of people on Sunday afternoon. Then they walk around in their suits looking at you because you ain't dressing. I see you didn't go to church today. You had something more important to do than to serve the Lord. Now I serve Yahweh on the correct day. Take it easy. That's the way that go. Go ahead, brother.
Exodus chapter 20 and verse 12. Honor your father and your mother, that your days may be long upon the land which Yahweh Elohim giveth you.
All right, put a marker in your book right there, and let's go to Matthew chapter 15. We're coming back there. So put a marker in your book at Exodus 20. Let's go to Matthew chapter 15. See, we don't understand the whole purpose of changing that name to Jesus. See, the whole purpose of changing that name to Jesus was to give him a Greek culture. See, we missed that part. See, we think they just changed the name because that's what they do. No. See, Kunta Kinte had to change his name because they wanted him to take on a Christian culture. See, they changed the name, they changed the culture, then eventually what? With a Greek name, what did they give you? A Greek face. They gave you blue eyes and a fresh straight hair. Then what our people gonna do? Then we gonna try to get us a black version of the Greek picture. So now you got black people that get that little picture of Festivus. I don't know who he's supposed to be. So he's a black dude with straight perm hair, look like Cat Williams, you know. So now we get a black version of the white Jesus. So they got Jesus and we got Festivus. Boy, stop. Matthew chapter 15 and verse 3 through 9.
But he answered and said unto them, Why do you also transgress the commandment of Elohim by your tradition? For Elohim commanded, saying, Honor thy father and mother, and he that curseth father or mother, let him die the death. But you say, Whosoever shall say to his father or his mother, It is a gift by whatsoever you mighteth be profited by me, and honor not his father or his mother, he shall be free. Thus have you made the commandment of Elohim of none effect by your tradition. You hypocrites, well did it say is prophesy of you, saying, This people draweth near unto me with their mouth.
They sing, glory, glory, we love you. Go ahead.
And honoreth me with their lips.
Oh yeah, they praise and worship. Go ahead.
But their heart is far from me.
No servitude. Go ahead.
But in vain they do worship me.
Worship. They worship, they just don't serve. Go ahead.
Teaching for doctrines the commandments of men.
Right. Now let's back up. Let's go to Matthew chapter 10. Matthew chapter 10. Once again, we're running into these commandments. Matthew chapter 10, and let's read verses 34 through 42. Because, see, some people would take this out of context. Honor your mother and father. See, I got one of those speeches when folks wanted me to keep Mother's Day. Well, what about honor your mother and your father? No, I'm not going to worship the devil to honor my mother and my father. Honoring you don't mean serving your God. That's not what honoring you means. I'm going to love you. You need something. I'm going to be there for you, but I'm not dealing with your paganism. I can love you from Kansas. I love you. Here's a ticket. See you when they free you. That don't mean I'm going to worship your God. Matter of fact, it is much love that I don't worship your God. Because if you cause me to fall, my God gonna tear you to pieces. No, it's love that I stand correctly concerning you. Go ahead.
Verse 34. Think not that I come to send peace on the earth. I come not to send peace, but a sword.
See, some take this out of context. So you have those in Sunday morning who tell you about how much love God wants you to have for everybody and everything, them not understanding what love is. Then you got the brothers who say, you see that? Think not that I am come to send peace on the earth. I came not to send peace but a sword. So that's why I got my megaphone and my karate suit. And I'm on the corner yelling out scriptures. So now they think they battle script, you know. So now you got brothers on the corner, Zechariah 14. Seek your 12 then. Yeah. What? Bro, who doing battle script? Who doing battle script? So people take this and they take this way out of context. So you can take this out of context way to the left or take it way out of context to the right. Either way, you off his two left shoes. Go ahead.
For I am come to set a man at variance against his father, and the daughter against her mother, and the daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law.
Right, and that's what the word is going to do. And if you're going to allow your parents to cause you issues in this word, you're going to have to figure out who you're going to please. Are you going to please Yahweh your Elohim, or you going to please mom and daddy? See, you got some people that they can't tell the truth about the walk that they in because of mama and daddy. If you ain't going to talk, don't talk. But don't turn around and add sins unto yourself by lying to try and fit whatever it is they dealing with. So you have to learn that I ain't going to talk about. Rather than sit there and lie, don't talk. So we're not going to have this conversation. This conversation we're not going to have. Go ahead.
And a man's foes shall be they of his own household. He that loveth father or mother more than me is not worthy of me.
Right. So when you get that whole thing, you don't honor your mother. What's wrong with Mother's Day? What's wrong with Mother's Day? Find it in Leviticus 23. I keep it. I keep anything you can show me out of this book. It says Yahshua was our example. Show me where Christ kept Mother's Day. You show that to me, and I tell you, I'll be at my mama's house with a gang of gifts. They have to back up a truck. All you hear, boop, 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 boop. Yeah, unload all this stuff. All you got to do is show me where Christ kept it, and I'm your man 50 grand. But if you can't show me where Christ kept it, then it's coming out of the hearts and minds of the pagan heathens. Go ahead.
And he that loveth son or daughter more than me is not worthy of me.
Right. There are some people that say, well, my son don't go to that church no more, so I can't go there no more. Go ahead.
And he that taketh not his cross and followeth after me is not worthy of me. He that findeth his life shall lose it, and he that loseth his life for my sake shall find it.
Right. This is why some cannot be born again, because they still trying to save their old life. And in saving their old life, they lose the new one. Go ahead.
He that receiveth you receiveth me, and he that receiveth me receiveth him that sent me. He that receiveth a prophet in the name of a prophet shall receive a prophet's reward. And he that receiveth a righteous man in the name of a righteous man shall receive a righteous man's reward.
Uh-huh.
And whosoever shall give to drink unto one of these little ones a cup of cold water, only in the name of a disciple, verily I say unto you, he shall in no wise lose his reward.
Right. This is why some people want to give you stuff and want to do stuff for you, because there's blessings connected to you, whether you know it or not. See, that's why them folks used to come and rub your head. They were, I hope some of that rub off on me. Let's go to Luke chapter 14. Luke chapter 14, and let's start that at verse 16.
Verse 16. Then said he unto them, A certain man bade a great supper, and bade many. A certain man made a great supper, and bade many, and sent his servant at supper time to say to them that were bidden, Come, for all things are now ready.
Right. We get out, we speak this word, we invite people to come and hear it. Go ahead.
And they all with one consent began to make excuse. The first said unto him, I bought a piece of ground, and I must needs go and see it. I pray you have me excused.
Right. People say, well, I like the word, but I'm in a community in my church, and I've gained status there. Go ahead.
And another said, I have bought 5 yoke of oxen, and I go to prove them. I pray you have me excused. And another said, I have married a wife, and therefore I cannot come. So that servant came and showed his master these things. Then the master of the house, being angry, said to his servant, Go out quickly into the streets and lanes of the city, and bring in hither the poor, and the maimed, and the halt, and the blind.
Right. At this point, go out and because the ones who we wanted to invite to the supper, they all made excuses. Now go and invite the others. By the way, the first one was Israel. Those were the ones who were bidden to the supper, but they all made excuses. Now go invite the Gentiles. Go ahead.
And the servant said, Master, it is done as you have commanded, and yet there is room.
Uh-huh.
And the master said unto the servant, Go out into the highways and the hedges, and compel them to come in, that my house may be filled. For I say unto you, that none of those men which were bidden shall taste of my supper.
Right. See, you have us of the children of Israel that were invited, but then you have all these excuses that were made by some of them. Go ahead.
And there went great multitudes with him. And he turned and said unto them, If any man come to me, and hate not his father and mother and wife and children and brethren and sisters, yea, and his own life also, he cannot be my disciple.
Right. Now, it is not saying hate in that context. It is forsake. What happens is people want to deal with what their mama and their father and what their son and their daughter have going on, and they put those things above the Mashiach. And if you put those things above Christ, you are not worthy of him. And see, that's hard for some of us to put in that noodle of ours. See, we think we're going to take care of all those things first. No. You're going to take care of the things of the kingdom first. And if you put those things in the right context, Yahweh going to deal with those other things in the way that he sees fit. That still don't mean you're going to like it right away as to how he deals with it. But he's going to deal with it in the way that it needs to be done if you deal with things in the right order. But see, you put all the other stuff first and leave everything that's left over, then you're going to serve Yahweh. You put all your heart, time, and energy into doing this thing, and then you got 15 minutes left at the end of the day. Then you're going to try to deal with Yahweh in them last 15 minutes, and you're going to find yourself sleeping 7. Go ahead.
Luke chapter 14 and verse 27. And whosoever does not bear his burden and come after me cannot be my disciple.
Uh-huh.
For which of you, intending to build a tower, sitteth not down first and counteth the cost, whether he have sufficient to finish it? Least happily, after he had laid the foundation and is not able to finish it, all that behold it begin to mock him, saying, This man began to build and was not able to finish.
All right, let's go back to Exodus 20. Go back to where your marker is. And read verse 13.
You shall not kill.
All right. Now let's go to Matthew chapter 5.
Leave your marker.
Yep, keep your marker there. So, it is written Thou shalt not kill. Matthew chapter 5, and let's read verses 27 through 28. No, Matthew chapter 5, let's read 21 through 24.
Verse 21. You have heard that it was said by them of old time, Thou shalt not kill, and whosoever shall kill shall be in danger of the judgment. But I say unto you, that whosoever is angry with his brother without a cause shall be in danger of the judgment.
Right. And see, what happened is people think they have a cause. See? Well, I'm mad that that brother didn't do this. Or I'm mad that that brother didn't tell me that. Did the brother break any commandments concerning you? See, that's being angry with your brother without a cause. See, folks be in danger of the judgment and not knowing it and believe they have some kind of cause. Why that brother didn't tell me he was going to the mall? He didn't think I would like to go to the mall? I'm angry with him. What make you think he got to tell you everywhere he going? What sin did he commit against you? You have a sister that be upset with somebody. No, she didn't wear the same dress I got on. That hussy. So she become your enemy because y'all got on the same dress? And people believe that's cause. That's not cause. If you can't produce where that person has sinned against you according to what's written in this law, then you do not have a cause. You are angry with your brother or your sister without cause. I don't care not about what you think, feel, and believe. I don't care not about what that brother said a word that I didn't like. Show it to me in this book. Nobody care what you like. Go ahead.
And whosoever shall say to his brother, Reka, shall be in danger of the council. But whosoever shall say, You fool, shall be in danger of hellfire. Therefore, if you bring your gift to the altar, and there remember that your brother has aught against you, leave there your gift before the altar, and go your way. First be reconciled to your brother, and then come and offer your gift.
Right. So, you got them issues. You stop, deal with that. Y'all stay right there. Brother, go back to Exodus 20 and read verse 14.
You shall not commit adultery.
All right. Now, read Matthew 5, starting at verse 27. Verse 27 and verse 28.
You have heard that it was said by them of old time, You shall not commit adultery.
Now, who was them of old time that said that?
Prophets.
Moses. They got this from the law. You have heard that it was said by them of old time. We just read it. You shall not commit adultery. Moshe they said it because he said it because Yahweh said it. That's the them. See, your kids will come to you, well, them, they going. So here go them. Here go them in the Bible. Them is Moshe, the people, and Yahweh. Go ahead.
But I say unto you, that whosoever looketh on a woman to lust after her hath committed adultery with her already in his heart.
Right. So now we got something altogether different. So one group is telling you that the law is nailed to the cross. When we read what Christ has to say, he has expounded on this law. It is more difficult to keep the law. All right, let's go to Exodus 21 and verse 10. Exodus 21 and read verse 10.
If he take him another wife, her food, her raiment, and her duty of marriage shall he not diminish.
Right. Now you find young brothers, they get in this word and say, what? Take another wife? Read that again.
If he take him another wife, her food,
food,
her raiment,
her clothing,
and her duty of marriage
how he deals with her.
shall he not diminish.
Right. You got brothers ain't even got a job. How you going to take care of her food and raiment? You already supposed to be taking care of the food and the raiment of the first one. How you going to take care of any of those things? See, folks take part of this word and deal with it as it suits their particular situation. Let's go to Leviticus chapter 20. Now we know that it's written in Isaiah 4, 7 women shall grab hold of one man, saying, I will take care of my own food and raiment. Just give me your name to take away my reproach. That name is Israel. But if you walking in the word, why should a woman have reproach? That means you ain't walking right. Why you need for a man to take away your reproach? Why you got reproach if you walking in the word? That means you got one foot in the word and the other one somewhere else. Where we at? Leviticus chapter 20 and verse 10.
And the man that committeth adultery with another man's wife, even he that committeth adultery with his neighbor's wife, the adulterer and the adulteress shall surely be put to death.
The adulterer and the adulteress shall be put to death. Now let's go to Mark chapter 10. See, what Christianity teaches is serial monogamy. So they seem to think that that is some holy thing. So what they do is they don't count the number of marriages they have. They only count the marriage that they in at that particular time. So they count on a curve. So the only one that count is the one that they with. All the others in the past, none of that matter. Yet, that's not what Christ said. So we at Mark chapter 10, and let's read verses 11 through 12.
And he saith unto them, Whosoever shall put away his wife and marry another, committeth adultery against her.
Okay, there were two stipulations against that. Whosoever shall put away his wife for a man and marry another commits adultery against her. See, Moshe gave the children of Israel a divorce to protect the women. Because what would happen is those women were treated as property. If those brothers were unhappy, they hurt them women. He said, give her a bill of divorce and let her go. Because this staying in a relationship in that fashion is bringing sin upon you. But from the beginning, it was not so. It was not a thing that Yahweh wanted. For what Yahweh has joined together, let not man put asunder. But our issue is we join together in the lust of our flesh. We're not in love, we be in lust. Then when lust fades away, we got all these issues. Where all these issues come from? That's when the lust done normalized now. Now, all those things that we saw before that we ignored, now they come into the forefront. But if we slow down and let the Spirit have its perfect work, we'll see all those things beforehand. Go ahead. Because people keep thinking that they have to know one. Understand something. Some of these marriages, most of these marriages in this book, they didn't even know each other. These people were married to one another who didn't even know. They met each other at the day of the wedding. And they was married their whole life. And we got all these issues. Well, I got irreconcilable differences. Right. Now, how two people ain't never seen each other, get married and be married for life. 6 months later, we got a problem with this. 7 months later, we got a problem with that. Oh, I seen this. I seen that. I got a problem with this. I got a problem with that. How do these people not know each other and they married forever? Right. Go ahead.
Verse 12. And if a woman shall put away her husband and be married to another, she committeth adultery.
She committeth adultery. Now, as we read before, the man commits adultery by being with another man's wife. That is how a man commits adultery. A woman commits adultery by being with any man other than her husband. See, we have to understand what's written in this book. See, people want to call that something else. See, we want to deal with this the way we want to deal with it. Let's go to Luke chapter 20. And see, we don't know how Yahweh is going to orchestrate something in the family. Yahweh may orchestrate a situation where the woman works and the man takes care of the house. One person may be more suited for one thing than the other. See, we just take for granted, well, you know, women are more suited to take care of children. That's not always so. Some situations not like that. Some situations where the woman has more education, the woman may have an ability to get jobs in a quicker fashion. And the brother may be more suited to take care of the children. See, we don't know how that situation goes, but each person has to take care of the role that they are given. See, there's a reason why Yahweh had their parents that make a child. If you have just raised by the mama, there's a problem. And if you just raised by the daddy, there's a problem. Yahweh has ordained that there's both of them that's supposed to be there. See, there was a point in my life that I had to figure out my whole direction. I was only raised by a woman. So there were certain things that I dealt with from a woman's point of view and not a man's. And it's hard for some men to admit that. But that's what happened when you raised by a woman. You want people to sing to you when they give you orders. You got a whole lot of brothers that can't keep a job. Because the only person that ever gave them an order was their mama. And they said it just as nice. So they get with a man on a job, and that man tells them something, and they quit the job because they don't like the way the man talking to them. Because they never had a man talk to them before in their life. They never had a man give them orders. See, we don't consider those things. We consider ourselves when we deal in relationship and not everybody in the whole scenario. There's more to you or more in that situation than just how you feel, think, and believe. Go ahead, brother.
Luke chapter 20 and verse 27. Then came to him certain of the Sadducees, which deny that there is any resurrection. And they asked him.
Now, understand the question. The question is about resurrection. Go ahead.
Saying, Master, Moshe wrote unto us, if a man's brother die, having a wife, and he die without children, that his brother should take his wife and raise up seed unto his brother.
Now, he said exactly where he got this. Moshe wrote unto us. This is in the law. Go ahead.
There were therefore 7 brethren, and the first took a wife, and died without children. And the second took her to wife, and he died childless. And the third took her, and in like manner the 7 also. And they left no children, and died. Last of all the woman died also. Therefore in the resurrection whose wife of them is she? For 7 had her to wife.
Right. Now this is what's set up according to the word. People would call this woman all kind of names because she done married brothers. Yeah, but each one of those brothers died, and then she married the next one. That's according to what's written in this book. but because of the way people think, feel, and believe, they would have a problem with this woman. Now, he first started this off saying, Moshe wrote unto us. Yahshua has the opportunity to say that that's going to be nailed to the cross, yet he does not. Listen to what he says. Go ahead.
And Yahshua answering said unto them, the children of this world marry and are given in marriage, but they which shall be accounted worthy to obtain that world and the resurrection from the dead, neither marry nor are given in marriage.
Right. See? And this contradicts that whole thing of angels sleeping with women. Go ahead.
Neither can they die anymore, for they are equal unto the angels, and are the children of Elohim, being the children of the resurrection.
Right. See? The angels don't marry. Go ahead.
Now that the dead are raised, even
well, that's all we're going to do from there. I'm sorry. Let's go to Romans chapter 7. Now, if we read what is written in Ruth, and we deal with Boaz and Ruth, we find that this was that situation with this woman. Her husband died. She then went back with Naomi, found a man of that of her husband's family. There was another man that really was in line before Boaz, but he wanted the woman. When it was brought up, the other man said, you know what, least I mar my own inheritance, I'm not going to be able to marry her and raise up seed unto my brother. So then that is how he ended up dealing with this woman. So the very thing that we read about here, this thing in Luke chapter 20, we can go in Ruth chapter 3 and 4 and read the entire situation on how that takes place. Romans chapter 7, and let's read verses 1 through 3.
Know you not, brethren, for I speak to them that know the law, how that the law has dominion over a man as long as he liveth?
Right. Yet, see, to understand the law, you got to do more than just go through Exodus 20. Go ahead.
But we're still being told we're not under the law.
Right. We keep telling, right. Everybody keep telling you, we're not under the law, we under grace. Right. Go ahead.
For the woman which has an husband is bound by the law to her husband so long as he liveth.
Right. As long as he lives. See? If he's living, she is bound by the law to her husband. This is why some people want to hurry up and get married before you find out just how crazy they are. Hurry up, let's get married. Hurry up. She's about to find out I'm crazy. Hurry up. Gotta get married. Hurry up. I do, she do, we did, we done. Come on. Right. Go ahead.
But if the husband be dead, she is loose from the law of her husband.
Right. Marriage certificates used to say, to death do you part. See? People done forgot that part right there. So, they'll tell you, yeah, what, is your husband dead? Well, he dead to me. What? I just seen him at the bus stop over there. He dead to you? He's still breathing when I saw him. Go ahead.
So then if, while her husband liveth, she be married to another man, she shall be called an adulteress.
Wait a minute. What did it say, what we read before? If the husband be alive and she be married to another man, then she shall be called an adulteress. It said that a man who touches a married woman, he commits adultery. You see the difference in adultery? See, people want to take one thing for adultery on the left and apply it on the right. No, a man commits adultery different than the way that a woman commits adultery. See, people don't really understand this word. They don't understand this word. See, I had a so-called, this is somebody who is over a congregation right now. He read and said that if a woman gets with a man who already has a wife, then they have committed adultery. I said, brother, now this the elder of the church. I was respectful. I went after class. I said, you realize that you just made over half of the children of Israel of the 12 tribes illegitimate through what you just said? He came back the next Sabbath and said, another brother has told me, he said some other brother name because he didn't want to say my name because people was already realizing that the word wasn't coming out right. So he gave the credit to another brother and said some other brother, told him whatever. It didn't matter to me. I know what he said was off. It was off. A lot of what he was saying was off, but I wasn't pointing out everything. But it was certain things I just couldn't let slide. You just turn around and said, out of the 12 pearly gates that we have, you just said only 3 of them were real. Now, how I'm supposed to sit by and let that go? Somebody going to have to say something about this. See, that we got to have a conversation about. Now, we wasn't going to have it in open forum, but we're going to have this after class. We got to talk about this right here. Now, if it didn't come out that next week, then I was going to have to make a decision what I was going to do. Hey, man, this ain't nothing you just, anybody can make a mistake. There wasn't no mistake. What you teaching was another doctrine. See, that's not what the book say. And what happens is people teach the doctrine according to the offerings that they get. See, and they got some sisters in there that give big offerings. There's certain things they ain't going to read. I don't care what your check say. You ain't going to influence the doctrine in here. It ain't going to happen. The only thing that influences doctrine in here is what's written in this book. Now, if we're going to reason together out of this book, and if you can show me something inside of this book, that's the only way you're going to influence doctrine in here. Go ahead.
But if her husband be dead, she is free from that law, so that she is no adulteress, though she be married to another man.
Though she be married to another man, she is not an adulteress because she is freed from that law. Now, these same people, see, it's a reason why Sunday morning tell you all of those things. Because let me tell you something. In Sunday church, they done been married to 4 or 5 people in the same congregation. See? So they have to tell you the law is nailed to the cross. Wait a minute. This is the New Testament that's saying you are bound by the law to your husband. This ain't the Old Testament I'm reading. This is Romans. This is the New Testament. Right. Now, that's why I explain to people how important that baptism is. See, that baptism, you are cleaned, you are reborn, which means you obtain your spiritual virginity. See, there are people that got that old baptism and they walk around with all them old covenants on them, just as dirty and thinking they doing something. You walking around with all them old covenants. How many wives and husbands you got stuck to you from that old life? Don't you think you ought to clean that off? Walking filthy before Yahweh and don't even know it. And some don't care. They like filth. See, you can't wash off a pig. A pig gonna see the first muddy hole and they jumping in it. We can't operate like, what do you think is written? It says the dog returns to his own vomit again, and the sow that was washed returns to her wallowing in the mire, because that's the only way she can get cool. See, a pig don't have no sweat gland. So the way they cool off is to jump in the mud. The way you cool off is to jump in the water and be baptized in the name of Yahshua. That's the way you cool off. Other than that, you're going to be hot by the lake of fire. Did you finish that?
Yes.
Let's go to John chapter 4. See, people think they think, okay, we gather together to hear out of Yahweh's law. They think, okay, well, Sock just gonna jump and we gonna read Exodus 20. You find out that this law is much more detailed when you add Yahshua in, ain't it? Right. Somebody been lying to you. See that? Why you think they put just them commandments on the wall and leave it there? The commandments go much deeper than them 10 that you see hanging on the wall. See, the implementation of those is much more difficult. John chapter 4, and let's start that at verse 13. Because see, some people don't believe what I just said. See, they got what they think, feel, and believe still stuck in their heart. So we're going to see what Yahshua got to say. Start at verse 13, Yohanan chapter 4.
Yahshua answered and said unto her, Whosoever drinketh of this water shall thirst again.
I tell you what, jump up to verse 9.
Then saith the woman of Samaria unto him, How is it that you, being a Jew, asketh drink of me, which am a woman of Samaria? For ye the Houthis have no dealings with the Samaritans.
Right. The kingdom was split into a northern and southern kingdom, and they had been fighting against one another for a long time. Go ahead.
Yahshua answered and said unto her, If you knew the gift of Elohim, and who it is that saith to you, Give me to drink, you would have asked of him, and he would have given you living water.
He would have given you living water. So this is, they already talking about, now they at the well, so she thinking that they talking about water to drink. What he talking about is baptism, okay? That's the living water, all right? Living water, being baptized in the name of Yahshua. That's who's talking. Now, before she can enter into this covenant, he still has to deal with it according to what's written in the law. So before he can deal with that, he needs to see who is over this woman. Go ahead.
The woman saith unto him, Sir, you have nothing to draw with, and the well is deep. From whence then have you that living water? Are you greater than our father Jacob, which gave us the well, and drank thereof himself, and his children, and his cattle? Yahshua answered and said unto her, Whosoever drinketh of this water shall thirst again. But whosoever drinketh of the water that I shall give him shall never thirst. But the water that I shall give him shall be in him a well of water springing up into everlasting life. The woman saith unto him, Sir, give me this water, that I thirst not, neither come hither to draw.
Right. She's thinking on a natural basis, and he knows that. Go ahead.
Yahshua saith unto her, Go, call your husband, and come hither.
Now, why did he ask that? See, when you get into this law, a husband has the right to disannul a vow that his wife makes on the day that he heard it. This was given as a protection for the woman. So a man who is the head of the household must show himself as a man. You hear something and your wife say, and you know she can't do that, you need to, whoa, baby, hold on. We need to talk about that. This is giving as a protection for her. And if he does that right, she's not even held accountable, even though she has said it out of her own lips. So before she can get this living water, he then says, go call your husband. See, I need to make sure that if you enter into this vow, that somebody else is not going to disannul that vow as soon as I go through this work to invite you into this vow. Go ahead.
The woman answered and said, I have no husband. Yahshua said unto her, You have well said, I have no husband.
She said, I don't have no husband. He said, you are absolutely right. You do not have a husband. Keep going.
For you have had 5 husbands.
Now, wait a minute. How she have 5 husbands and didn't know about it? See, Yahshua counting something different than what you count. See, folk counting marriage certificates. They counting how many times they stood before a preacher and said, I do, you do, we done. Go ahead.
And he whom you now have is
Wait a minute. So she got somebody now. She got somebody. Now she said, I don't have a husband. But he said, you got somebody now. So you got a little, special friend. You got a little friend with benefits. You got a friend. Friend. Yeah, you got a friend. But you don't have a husband. He said, you have one now. Go ahead.
Is not your husband. In that saith you truly.
Now, you have 5 husbands. But the one you have now is not yours. See, he counting all that unholy matrimony. See? That stuff that we get involved in that we think don't count. Understand, all covenants are sealed in blood. What you think happens to a virgin when she enters into a covenant with a man? What you think that is? Right. Yahshua and Yahweh is the same at the beginning of this book as they is at the end. That's why he said, you've had 5, and the one you have now is not yours, because that first one was. See, that's your true husband, but you done had some other husbands. See? So what he's counting is all the men she has been with. Go ahead.
The woman saith unto him, Sir, I perceive that you are a prophet.
You go to a woman and tell her how many men she been with, she'll tell you you're a prophet too. How you know that? You walk up to a woman and say 11. She like, oh, that brother soccer prophet. That brother there a prophet. I ain't told nobody that right there. I ain't not a damn brother living on the earth know that number. That brother's a prophet. Right. Ain't nobody have to convince her. She done. He had to convince all these people that his word is real. When you tell a woman her sleep number, oh, she know you're a prophet. She knew for a fact, hey, look, that's a prophet. Go ahead. Keep reading. I want you to go through something.
Verse 20. Our fathers worshipped in this mountain, and you say that in Jerusalem is the place wherein men ought to worship. Yahshua saith unto her,
I jumped to 25.
The woman saith unto him, I know that the Messiah cometh, which is called Christ. When he is come, he will tell us all things.
All right, jump to 27.
And upon this came his disciples and marveled that he talked with the woman.
Right, they looking like, why he talking with this woman? Go ahead.
Yet no man said, What seeketh you? Or, Why talketh you with her? The woman then left her water pot and went her way into the city and said to the men.
Now, she was so convinced, she left the water pot. That was the reason she was there. She left the water pot and went to other men in the city. She had one conversation with Yahshua. Consider how many miracles he had to do amongst Israel to convince them. Consider how many sermons he had to give to convince them. Go ahead.
Come, see a man which told me all things that I ever did. Is not this Christ?
One conversation, and she already know, without a doubt, this is Christ. Keep going. Said, this man told me whatsoever I ever did. So she knew right off the rip, this man has given me the right number, and nobody knows that. This man has to be Christ. So consider that when we are dealing with these things of what we think, feel, and believe, this law is much bigger than Exodus chapter 20. All right, let's go back to Exodus 20.
Exodus chapter 20 and verse 15. Thou shalt not steal.
Keep going. Go all the way through.
Thou shalt not bear false witness against your neighbor. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's house. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife, nor his manservant, nor his maidservant, nor his ox, nor his ass, nor anything that is your neighbor's.
Right. Covet is having a desire for something that does not belong to you. If you, this part is a sin, this actually starts before the theft. Before someone steals something, they have first coveted it first. If you stop there, you have a better opportunity in forgiveness, because that thought stops there. You judge yourself of that thought, then you do not act upon it. Yahweh is giving us, that's the little speed bump before the sin. If you slow down at the speed bump, you might actually get saved. But what happened is, we just run over the speed bump. Go ahead.
Verse 18. And all the people saw the thunderings and the lightnings and the noise of the trumpet and the mountain smoking. And when the people saw it, they removed and stood afar off. And they said unto Moshe, Speak you with us, and we will hear. But let not Elohim speak with us, lest we die. And Moshe said unto the people, Fear not, for Elohim is come to prove you, and that his fear may be before your faces, that you sin not. And the people stood afar off, and Moshe drew near unto the thick darkness where Elohim was. And Yahweh said unto Moshe, Thus shall you say unto the children of Israel, You have seen that I have talked with you from heaven. You shall not make with me gods of silver, neither shall you make unto you gods of gold. An altar of earth you shall make unto me, and shall sacrifice thereon your burnt offerings and your peace offerings, your sheep and your oxen. In all places where I record my name, I will come unto you, and I will bless you. And if you will make me an altar of stone, you shall not build it of hewn stone.
Hewn is cut.
For if you lift up your tool upon it, you have polluted it. Neither shall you go up by steps onto mine altar, that your nakedness be not discovered thereon.
Right. So then the altar must be a complete piece of stone, not different pieces of stone that is put together. That's all we have time for today. This gives us an opportunity to go through this law and understand the righteousness that is contained in it. It is much more than just reading these commandments and thinking that we have this all together. Remember the Sabbath to keep it holy. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.